I have many thoughts. First of all, no one ever explained what depression was to me. Like, I get the sadness, the down mood. I understand that, but I'm just curious how so many different medical professionals, when I'm presenting with depression, don't screen me at that age. Maybe I wasn't telling them everything. I'm just a bit confused because it's like, if I knew, I just trusted what they said. And they said, you're anxious and depressed. I was like, okay. The same when the doctor went on to say I had ADHD. I was like, okay. I pursued that. I was like, I have this, but I think it's wrong. Yuck. The news sucks. Ew. 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 There was a New South Wales MP who quit because he was charged with child sex offences. He actually had sexual intercourse. What the fuck? Anyway, I don't want to see that. That's boring. I was trying to find wallpapers because I wanted to update my wallpaper. I've been wanting to film for ages. I just keep forgetting. This is Lilith, my cat. Shaka bra. That's actually a very, very funny South Park scene. I don't like South Park, but I do like that scene. I'm not sure if I'll upload this. There's bats. You hear the bats? Because my YouTube channel is like, tarot related. Maybe if I pull a card, I'll be like, oh, I could upload it. Well, I've already got a sigil sitting out, a seal for someone. I've got like 2 decks there. I've got a deck there. I love this. I think I just like putting cards on it because of the moons, because the moon is so pretty. Oh my god, the sunsets also have been like really, really nice lately because they've been like red and orange. Orange is my favorite color. That's why my hair, I've got to color it. I'm gonna add pink, I think. I want to get wallpapers. Wallpapers. What kind of wallpaper do I want? Well, it says it's wallpapers for laptop. I'll just go with that because I can't think of anything. Ooh, that's pretty. Maybe space. No. Minimalist environment. Is that a thing? No, I don't. I want it to be like photography. Mountain. That's also boring. Okay, I was just talking about sunsets. Let's go sunset. I wonder if I could like go take someone's picture of the sunset recently from around here. Because I did not see anyone posting on Facebook locally about these sunsets, but I saw people pulling over to take photos. So, sunset. Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows everywhere. No. Oh, that is pretty. That is pretty. Oh, the picture's big enough. Not really. Oh, that's so cool though. That looks really nice. It's like a marina. It's got like the the water's so still. I think she's done a bit of a long exposure on it because the water looks really soft. Looks really nice. Oh, yeah, 5 days ago. That one's pretty. That looks great, but it's like portrait, so I can't use it. Oh, if I go most recent, it'll show me the ones that people have uploaded recently. 5 days. I shot the full moon was on Tuesday evening. It was so pretty. The full moon looked really good, but it didn't look good the night of the full moon. Looked good after. And then apparently also we had a super moon, right? But we're having another super moon for the next full moon. Confusing, because like all these people on Facebook were like, oh, super moon, blue moon. Okay, just chill out. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, hate that. What is that? Is that North Lakes Hotel? It is. Boring. That's nice. That is like a... That's okay. It's got power lines in it though. Sunrise. No, sunset. Sunset. Tinchitamba wetlands. Very nice. Very nice. I used to go fishing there when I was a kid. That's pretty. Okay, I'm gonna go orange or paper of orange sunset. Oh, let's go. Do you know how many of these websites now that you can't download the high-res image without like signing up and giving them information? Like, what happened to all these websites in like the 2000s? It was just like, oh my god, did anyone else? I don't know how I found this stuff as a kid. There was like these websites where you could literally download images and they were like this big on your screen. They looked like that big, and they were like little 64-bit photos or images that people had made of just like little things. I don't know how to explain it. I don't even remember what I did with them. I just remembered you'd go onto the website and like they'd all be just on the page. At least that's how I remember it. But also I don't remember Habbo Hotel that well, and I think that's a good thing. I'll go photo. That will prevent any digital art. I don't want digital art on an actual sun. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like that one. I just realized I'm looking at this as well. It's going to be more orange on the screen right now than it usually is because I've got my... Oh, see what I mean? It's got free pick all over it. You've got to go premium. Sorry. But it's really irritating because it's like, just give me that picture. Just give, like, what these people just used to... I know I'm probably bitching about like something that's a first world problem, but I always struggle with choosing. Background. Oh, it's not like that. I really want something with like water. Ocean. I'll just put ocean. So now I'm getting waves with. Do I have to actually go landscape? Okay, this is now my search term. Landscape wallpaper of orange sunset photo ocean. Honestly, doesn't matter like really what order you put them in because it just uses all of those to out whatever and I'm using Google, so Google Images. See, like Google used to give you the most relevant stuff, and now because of search engine optimization and sponsored posts, you just see whoever pays them the most money. Like people have actual jobs now to help companies optimize their marketing on social media and Google and stuff, and I just think that's insane that like you have to go to that extent to even just be seen now. Word of mouth has really fallen off because like word of mouth is now just like online reviews. I feel I don't really hear anything about like maybe local community stuff, but not businesses. That's what people talk about is like local communities. Oh, it says bonito? Bonito? Isn't bonito a fish? Bonito is a fish? I knew that because I eat Japanese food. I mean, is it not like a fish that they use? I mean, like when you look at a lot of their yeah, bonito flakes, you know. Hang on, am I? Yeah. I literally went to Google it, and it was like the first suggestion: bonito flakes. Isn't that the things that they put on top of your? Yeah, it's the stuff that goes on top of your What is fish? What are fucking balls called? Takoyaki, takoyaki. Okinoyamaki, okonomiyaki. I really did enjoy learning Japanese. Oh, it's a big ass sun. Black old sun. Anyway, suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a if I cut my arm bleeding, but what do I do? Oh, does anyone? Okay, Clark Little. I used to follow him. He has 2 million followers. Wow. Yeah, I used to follow him. I think before he got like massively. There was like this one picture he was just known for. It was like just everywhere, fucking everywhere. And it was like if you just got this really good shot, it's pretty much that one. It's just there's this one where it's just got like this that one. Oh my god, that one too. Crazy waves though. Oh, that one's pretty. Oh, turtle. Let me see. I mean, it would be harder to get detail in the waves when he doesn't have as much light when like it's sunset or sunrise. Like you would like that's why I can see he's typically got the sun behind it instead of like the other ones you can tell during the day he's just taking the photos like wherever because he's still covered by the wave. It's going to be refracting and blocking some of the light coming through. Oh, that is fucking cool. Okay, anyway, that was a good trip down memory lane. What's that? Hank Green. Does he? Oh, is he that? Yeah. Sad. I'm really not vibing with any of these. Should I change my background? What was I gonna do? I can't remember. Oh yeah, I was talking about depression. I said to myself, what was I? When was I depressed? Like July, August, May. And don't feel depressed anymore. I also want to point out it's currently 12:23 a.m. I had to. Oh my god, really upset. I had a 10 gauge in my septum. I had a continual problem with the retainer that I had in because I didn't have a horseshoe because the horseshoes were letting me down. I kept wiping and blowing my nose and the balls just fell off and I lost them. And so I stopped wearing them. I started wearing a pincher. That was great. Got me up to 10G because I went from 12. I was stretched, no problems. It's never hurt ever. Even when I went up to 10, it wasn't that bad, and I had a pincher, little buffalo ring. But the issue is that I lost the O-ring. So, oh, it's pretty. It doesn't look very HD. It's like I want this to look good when I look at my background. So then I just put this retainer in, and it was a 10 gauge. So I've gone from, I think what they pierce you with is like a 16. So I went from 16 to 14 to 12 to 10. I got it pierced in 2017, and I think I stretched it 2 years after I got it done initially, and then I stretched it maybe a year or 2 years later, and then I waited, I think, another 2 years. So pretty much 2 years in between each stretch. Because like, yeah, it has been a while since I've had it. Also, I had my Nipolas done, both of them, in 2015. A while ago. They were like so good, even though I took them out in 2020 when I fell pregnant. I got them tapered back in this year, back up to a 14. Crusty and a bit sore for like 3 to 4 days, and then just like normal, It's still got crusties. Those will last ages, but they're not as bad as when I first got them pierced. Oh my god. That used to be so horrible. I'm just thinking about it now. I'm like, that was just awful. I actually like that. That's nice. That is really nice. Take me to a big picture. Wallpapers.com. Why didn't I come to something like this anyway? Ads keep our content free for you and enjoy. Please considering our ads. Why the fuck would I continue without supporting us? Because why the fuck should I have to look at ads? Because I can still see them. I can still see them. I can see your start download for the Microsoft 64-bit driver, you know. I can see your Capterra back-to-back budgeting software, what B2B. I can still see all these ads, so I don't know why they're yelling at me. Ooh. I love when you click on one picture, it takes you to like a whole collection of like very similar stuff. And that's the one I was looking at. Black hole sun. Oh, it's stuck on my head now. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. Yeah. No, I want to see the sun. I feel like that's fair. I was looking for something with the sun. Oh. That's it. That's it. Wait. Is that a digital art? A grand digital picture? See, I can't trust this because, like... No. Can I go and... it's a picture, but... Oh! That's a lighthouse. Why is this so hard? Oh, that's got a lighthouse in it. Yes. Every time I load a new page, it's like, please support us. And I'm like, I can see all your ads. Also, what? It wants me to subscribe. I can't. What? You know what? Everyone was so excited for Netflix. They were like, oh, I can get DVDs delivered to my house. I can go online and just watch something. Wow, I don't have to like rip it off the internet illegally. I can feel good about paying actors and directors what they deserve. Because apparently their box office, you know, didn't make them enough money. Oh. What? I just got invited to like... Oh, I don't use Insta. Yeah. So I got invited to a group, right? So like I'm just in, but I was like confused because I was like, I'm already in this group, but I'm not, because they just added me to it. But I think it's a backup for another group. Card of the day spread. It's a star. It's the star. I think mine would be the sun. Black hole, sun. See, now I'm doing tarot, so I said I would pull tarot. What's on the bottom? Knight of Swords. I finally got like a... Oh. I actually realized I forgot that I try not to shuffle these cards like this, but then I was like, who gives a fuck? Cards are supposed to be shuffled. I practiced the riffle shuffle for ages before I finally got it. Okay, this is a pretty good water bottle because the last one from Kmart I got shrunk in the dishwasher because I feel like I put it in the dishwasher before. That's how like the design wore off. This is a double walled one, so it stays cool. This was like not even $10. I don't even think it was $10. I've bought ones not even this size for like 30 because it was Maxwell Williams. So I do 3 of the riffle, and then I'll do split, split, split. And then I do split. I do it 3 times. Split. I try not to look. I don't want to. And then I'll do a shuffle, but I won't pull cards. I shuffle different to one line. So I basically could just do this because it moves them around without it being big, like one by one. And then when I'm ready, black hole sun, won't you go? Did you see that? The way that just jumped out? Okay. Ugh. Strength, the 9 of Cups, and Justice. Oh. Is there another one on there? No. Okay. Eight. Anyway, I'm not like, why are we introducing ourselves? That's such a funny photo. Sorry, I should be looking at a Facebook group while I'm like trying to. I can't believe subscription. Anyway, back to the Netflix thing. Like, so then they started subscriptions, and people were like, oh, it just got copied. Like, there was a period of time where a lot of apps still weren't subscription based, and you could just pay them to use the app one time. So then people that had already sold their app weren't creating more money off of it, created microtransactions, right? But now they've basically created a microtransaction subscription. So is it not just a microtransaction every month to you? It's just app access. You're not, like, I guess people have got to be paid, but that's why I hate capitalism. It's like, why we got to do this? We could literally just be chilling out, helping people out, not stressed. I think I'm thinking of socialism. But communism used to really appeal to me as a kid and a teenager. I had no idea that it was communism. I just thought, because there was a book I read. There was a book I read, and there was like 2 sort of like countries, and like the character, she's from like the top country, but it's like it's communist basically, and she escapes and she goes to the other ones, free, liberal, blah blah blah. But I was like, in the book, because she's used to being in the other country, no one is homeless, no one goes hungry. Like there is like obviously like the underworld or like all the black market stuff going on, which they try and stamp out very harshly. But then they have the same thing on the other side, and it's not regulated. Like they don't really care as much as long as they're not hurting them. Like they have heaps of homeless, or like I think they call it like beggars in the book, etc. And the character is like coming to terms with the fact that they're more free, but they don't have support in certain ways. But it just made so much sense to me that we would give everyone jobs and help them and have them live somewhere and help them, like whatever. But you know, I can't. I'm just an individual. I can't fix the whole world. That's pretty true. What the is with these wallpapers? I just put free HD wallpaper orange sky. And now it's just like clouds. Oh wow, that's really pretty. And then you go to the website and it's just, oh, that's pretty. I've actually like really inspired by this because like I really like clouds and the sunset and the sky, and I've been thinking of painting clouds for a long time. I've been wanting to paint just like skies since I was like a kid. That's really nice. Oh man. Ah. What size is my screen? Like, isn't it 1920? Yeah, 1040 by 1920. I'm pretty sure that's what mine is. Hang on. Display settings. Let me have a look. 1920 by 1080. Yep. See. I can't believe I have to. So strength is like I have to overcome. Oh. Overcoming obstacles, and it's like you have to be. There's something about knocking down or clearing dead wood. Because if I look at the floor that they're on, I've actually never noticed this, but it looks like the trees, they've got leaves, but they look like fire. And then like on the ground, it looks like they're on fire too. One's got a snake, she's in red. The other girl's in white, she's on a lion. So, but to me, it's always come across as a maiden and a crone, which means that all the mother's missing. You also have the 9 of cups, which is like about healing. So we've got 8, 9. Again, there's a branch on the ground. There's a branch on the ground. This one is broken in strength, right? And then in the next one, he's being healed. And there's a branch on the ground. Yeah, that's not like a root, that's like a branch. Okay, so clearing dead wood, that's coming in. Clearing dead wood. So I always look up these sayings when I can't. Clearing dead wood. When I don't understand it, not when I don't understand them. Makes for more attractive trees and shrubs. It also helps to prevent disease from killing your plants. When a piece of plant is compromised by a disease or entirely dead, it creates a gateway for certain pests or pathogens to enter the plant that can cause severe damage. Is there a saying around that? Meaning of dead wood in English: people or things that are no longer useful. She cleared out the dead wood as soon as she took over the company. So then we've got, if we've got that sort of a theme popping up with the wood because of the branch. Branch, oh my god, I love trolls. Okay, so we have the, we also have, so did you know that historically, a lot of, what do you call them? Like Golden Dawn, I don't know what you would class them the magical order, whatever. So any kind of secret society that does occult practices or studying metaphysics, shit like that. I have found that they intentionally, anything that they've published has been just pretty good, but also it is very misleading. If you're reading these and taking them verbatim without applying critical thinking, I feel like you're not going to get out of it what you need to. So for example, I've pulled both Strength and Justice, right? This is my first card, this is the second card. Now, did you know that they were actually swapped? So, and this is why I really like the snake imagery in the card. So I think I have another deck here. They were swapped around, and Strength used to be 11 and Justice used to be 8, apparently. It makes no sense to me, right? But this was done by who? The people, I believe, that made the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I've just got to find, this is the Fairy Tarot. Okay, also, I bought this Fairy Tarot in 2020. It has Doreen Virtue's name on it still. Crazy. I don't know if this was like just before they stopped publishing with her or if she denounced everything, but you know, anyway. So I'm getting a feel, okay, so we've got they did change some of the words, names, because like you've got different names, like ego, that's just the devil, they didn't want to put the devil. I'm trying to find Justice and Strength for you because they've actually got them mixed around. And I really didn't like it. And the more I've learnt about the tarot, the more I've realised that they've actually sort of played with it in the wrong way. Because what we see is lack of imagery, basically. So in Strengths, you have usually a woman in the typical imagery holding the mouth open of a lion. And when I say typical imagery, I'm not talking about like the Tarocchi, I don't even think that's the pronunciation, cards that were used by the courts and that popularized imaged cards for divination. I'm talking about like the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I believe that is the main one that did it. It might have been one before that, but that is the one that has set the tone for tarot, right? It is reproduced massively. So you can see here, Justice is 8 and Strength is 11. Now Strength is the important one. Do you know why? Because of the infinity sign or the Lemniscate. I don't even think that is a pronunciation. So basically a Lemniscate is any of several figure 8 curves. So basically the infinity sign, right? So when I've been researching this, I've found that it has a lot to do with Hermes or Mercury. So the crossroads, because it crosses. So it has a lot to do with the crossroads. So basically you are the fool and you meet the magician. That is your first crossroad. That is like the first thing you do is come up to and then you got Strength. That is the halfway point of the major arcana. And that again, she has a Lemniscate over her head. It's another crossroad. So when you mix these two up, the tarot, the hero's journey doesn't flow right because he doesn't come across these pivotal learning points that put him at a crossroads. So he's born, comes across a magician, boom, has to make a choice. Then he's set on the path of learning the physical aspect of life, which is, well, you've got the High Priestess. So hidden knowledge. Then you've got the Empress, which is the physical mother. You've got the Emperor, which is the physical father. I'm saying mother and father just because they're depicted as feminine and masculine. So then you have what? Number 5 is the Hierophant. That is a authority figure of some kind of spiritual sense, religious sense. Then you have the Lovers, which is a choice or, you know, deep sort of like options and choices stemming from, I always say it as a heart chakra. There's something that drives you from that point to choose. Obviously, it can also speak about love and lovers, but yeah. You've got to think when back to numerology a lot of the times when you're also interpreting tarot, because it helps massively. So if you think about that, when they've switched these numbers around, there's a major change when it comes to the journey, right? So you come up to lovers. After the lovers, you've got chariot, so you've got movement forward. You've got a carriage taking you somewhere. You've got propelment forward, and then you come across number 8, and they've swapped it. 8 is strength now, and it used to be justice. So when we think about justice, we're thinking about we moved forward from the chariot. If we go into strength, we then have to develop our inner strength. We have to sort of work on ourselves. But if we think about going on from the chariot, moving forward, and then we come up to justice, and I'll just read out what it says here. Take the time to review details carefully. You'll win in the end. Fair and objective decisions. So you're moving forward, and there's another aspect of fairness and truth coming out once you move forward. That sort of makes sense, right? Because if you're going forward, you're going to find out information. It's going to be fair and just because you've come along the journey to the point where you've gone. You got to think about what comes before and after it as well. So basically, after justice, you have this fairness, and then you go in and you develop your inner light. You start to think about what drives me. You have this hermit mode, right? 9 is the hermit. Then you come across 10, and it's the wheel of fortune. Spin the wheel of luck. Where are you going to end up next? You're at strength. And then typically when strength was in the 11th position, it would have been a crossroads. So you spin the wheel after gaining all this experience, and you're propelled on a new journey. This new journey isn't as physical. It's not as based on the physical plane as the first lot of cards were. You transition to this spiritual esoteric sort of concept, right? Because you have strength. If you look at it like how we typically read tarot with justice as 11 now, you'll find yourself coming from this moment of spinning, and all of a sudden you've got truth and justice and courts and fairness and documentation coming into play. That's physical. But if you look at it the other way, and you put strength there, you've got to find after you've had that quietened inner moment and you've retreated, you've found your light, you've come back out, you can spin the wheel of luck. Where will it take you? You don't know. You're about to enter a crossroad. It makes so much sense. Especially when you look at the imagery, there's repeated imagery and certain things that just appear. So interesting. I like the history. I really should look at the history of like the actual, because it says it's an algebraic geometry. People actually like algebra. I can't. I just couldn't figure that stuff out. Anyway. Okay, so let's consider. You're at this crossroad with strength. You've got to find your inner fight. You've got to overcome your inner demons. That is such an emotional thing. That's such a very, it could feel somatic in your body, but it's very mind related, and you're finding strength from a purpose above because it's above her head, right? Now, you go from 11, if strength was 11, you go from 11 to 12, which is the Hanged Man. So after you have this crossroads, you have to take that inner strength and you have to then apply it to gaining a different perspective. He's literally hanging upside down with enlightenment. His change of perspective has given him insight. He then goes on to experience an ego death with death. It's not natural death. It is change. It is transformation. It's metamorphosis. The fact that death is typically depicted as the skeleton on the horse, I don't really like that. If it had something to do with butterflies instead and cocoons, we would understand that. People would get it. People would stop being like, how do I remember all the meanings? So you go on from death, and then you've experienced this ego death. But when you're reborn, do you start going straight again? Not really. You step into temperance. You've got to maintain balance. You've got to come back to center. You've got to be grounded, but you've also got to be intuitive. It's learning how to take this physical existence and get spiritual ascension. That's basically the second part. It's like, yes, you've had a physical life. What are you doing about it? You're just going to live that? Are you going to take it? You're going to come to a crossroad, decide to go forward? Because I feel like if you don't use a crossroads correctly, you just repeat cycles and lessons. So you'll just stay on that life cycle lesson or that journey, that part of your journey, until you understand what you're supposed to do, or you get what I'm saying. So basically, after temperance, you have the devil. So this is also going to be in times of waiting. You may succumb to temptation. So you're waiting and trying to maintain balance. You're trying to maintain groundedness and intuition. But what if you're being led astray? What if there's something that you're not noticing that is actually quite bothersome, and that is your shadow? That's the negative aspect. What things are you restricted by? What things are you holding on to that you do not need? And the lesson in the devil comes right along with the tower. If you don't let go of that shadow and you don't let go of the things that are holding you down and restricting you down, you will just have to have it all just crumble, right? Because it wasn't built securely. So it's sort of interesting, because I feel like if you've gone through that ego death and you've maintained balance, there's always still going to be something that you haven't noticed that is part of your deep psyche that is affecting you, okay? And that is why things are brought down, you're crumbled. Because why would you build something with, toothpicks when you can build it with bricks? It's sort of like the three little pigs. Like, only one of them bitches got it right. So after the tower, you're a bit humbled, right? The tower happens, and usually after a tower moment, I feel like during a tower moment, during the devil, you're not aware of the things as vividly, of the things restricting you and affecting you. I think when it comes to the tower, it's very obvious, because it's just in your life. Something has just, it can be so little. You can know you're being in a tower moment. You don't need to read. You can tell you're in one, because things are just crumbling. And you're looking at it, but you can tell it's because it wasn't going to last anyway. But that was the whole point of the devil, was to show you that. So sometimes I feel like the tower is almost optional if you can understand the lessons. Or not optional, it's more voluntary. I'll say that, more voluntary. Okay, so after the tower, you have the star. So after you've lost hope to your shadow, you feel like you've lost parts, even though they were negative, and you've had things taken from you because they weren't built properly in your life. All of these concepts in your head, this would be deconditioning, right? Then you come to a place where you're like, I need to renew my sense of faith. I need to find meaning and purpose. Where do you look? To the star. To the star. She has all the answers. Technically, I don't see this star as like the universe. I see it as guidance from above. So very, very mundane interpretation we've got here of like energy and spirit and love, or energy or source, whatever people want to call it, God, who cares? It's pretty much all the same. It's just given different titles, and I mean, like, it's all the same. They used to believe that they were all ancient gods, and every different culture had different gods that controlled different things, but they all did something similar across the different pantheons, right? Even though they might not have ever met, or they might have been slightly influenced by something a tiny bit. I'm not talking about the Romans taking influence from the Greeks, by the way. That is a completely different thing. That's not like a little bit of inspiration. That's like, oh, what, did you do the homework? I didn't. So after you've renewed your sense of self and your sense of faith in not the physical world, but everything that's happening around you, the magic, the energy, you come to a point where you can actually experience vibrance and joy. And I really like that concept that you've been dug down. You've reached almost a bottom because you were pushed. You fell out of that tower, bitch. You start to think, and this is the journey. You collapse and you actually rise back up. You renew your sense of faith, and you're not renewing it in something else. It might not even be at the end of the day, you are the energy, right? So you can apply a word to it, a religion to it, whatever, but at the end of the day, the whole concept of is energy, love, yourself, others. They're all the same. It's all feeding itself. So you get to the sun and you can just joy, vibrance, pleasure, happiness, life. It's literally just optimal life, right? Then you have the moon. You have to understand that in the light, there's also the dark. There's the things that are reflected and not seen. So if you think about the depiction of the moon, usually it's a crescent, but if we think about the moon, we've got the cycle starts new moon, we go to full moon. So it waxes and then it wanes, and we start again. So this is sort of like your opportunity to understand and interpret these cycles and make sure that once again, your shadow or things that you're not seeing are not hindering you, because you then come to judgment. And this is very closely towards the end of the journey of ascension, right? And ascension can happen so many times in your life, but it ultimately is building you up to the top. It's sort of like, maybe if you compare it to Mount Everest, is like me reaching, or like a mountain climb. You might have points where you can stop and rest. That might be the first part of your ascension, but you know you've got to keep going up that hill. And that's the whole point of the imagery of the moon, I feel, is like those, that gatekeeper being there. You're like, I can get through that because I've learnt so much and I've come so far. And I'm not afraid. I recognize my shadow. I've had the things taken from me that I don't need. I have a renewed sense of faith, and I'm happy. I can see through the shadows because I have the light in me. Then it comes to the point where it's basically end of, you're reaching the top part. You're reaching the crossover where you will be able to see beyond the veil. So if you're not able to go back with judgment and review everything and make sure that you're happy and you've learnt your lessons, you won't complete to the world. You won't complete to seeing that, the essence of that spirit, the universe. You won't have understanding of the collective unconsciousness, of the unconscious collective ideas, and you won't understand the connectedness. Now, I know this comes back from just talking about strength and justice, but you can see that if you had those two mixed up, you go from the Chariot and you're like, woo, I'm now gonna like find my inner strength. Woo, I moved and I'm finding my inner strength. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I still interpret the numerology with strength and justice to be a bit, that's probably why I struggled with them. I really struggle with strength because once I found out that the lemniscate is, I don't even think I'm saying that right, I don't get, which also comes from the Latin word lemniscatus, meaning decorated with ribbons, and it was originally Greek, meaning ribbon, or which alternatively may refer to the wool from which ribbons were made. A figure shaped like the number 8 infinity. Okay, so the Greek root, lemniscos, a woolen ribbon. So there you go. But if you can't get to the world, you don't see through. You don't understand the things. I feel like you can have a full ascension from the full to the world, but it might still be that first step up to that first, mountain rest, that mountaintop. You've got a lot ahead of you still, but only you can understand if these chapters in your life are fully closing with the lessons you're learning, because all of these little stops along the journey that get you up to the top, they're all micro lessons within the big lesson. So that it's all about, how did you start? With the full, you're starting, right? With the magician, you have the tools that you need to go forward. With the High Priestess, you uncover hidden secrets. And I feel like all of this sort of almost happens prior to birth. You're given the tools that you need and the information you need unconsciously preset as you start. And then you experience the physical, and that goes until strength 11. But if we do it the other way around, it gets a bit jumbled for me. I do really like the idea of the lion in strength though, because it gives a good indicator that like there's a beast or something that is very wild. And have you come to terms with that? So that's very interesting, because justice is very, very based in the physical sort of. If you can sort of separate them energy wise into something that you would deal with physically and something that you're dealing with more spiritually. And obviously this is not a set rule. You can have a tower might actually occur if your house burns down or you crash your car, but it doesn't mean that that was inherently just the only physical lesson that was happening or the physical thing that happened to you. There might also be a lesson on top of that spiritually that you've got to take on, which might be that depends on what the cards come out with, because I can't just like randomly spitball. The moon. And, wow, that's interesting. The imagery on some of these is really interesting. That's like blood coming, like that's the only, it's like red. Oh, she's carrying something. It looks like a broom. Very confusing. Anyway. See what I mean about the moon? They always put like a crescent in. So that technically, like a tiny sliver crescent is a new moon. And then when you've got no moon in the sky, that's a dark moon. It happens the night before a new moon. I mean, a new moon is like a tiny sliver, and because it's so close to the sun, you usually can't see it anyway, so what's the point in even talking about it? I read during my, I had to track my period through an app. And the period app did a study. It used all the data from the app on anyone that wasn't using birth control to see how their cycles aligned with the moon. They could find no correlation or anything like that. And I was like, that's got to be some BS, because I know that I couldn't track at times on that app that I was using birth control, or I didn't put it in because it wouldn't allow me to track stuff properly or use certain settings, because a lot of these, I've been using that app since 2016. And yeah, I was like, so they've probably used very, and also like some people, if you're more inclined, I feel like you will line up with the cycle of the moon that reflects your current transition or journey that you're going on. For example, when I conceived my child, I believe it happened on a new moon, but I conceived on a new moon. So that meant that I was doing a lot of shadow work, and like every full moon, boom. Not even just like the day before or after, it was every full moon. It's not happening that intensely this year. I'm on birth control now, so it's probably different, but it's still happening within 1 to 2 days of the full moon. So that's a lot of release. I see that as, and this is probably why they can't find, a set determination of like, yes, this happens here. But they actually did say that a majority of people, if they fall around the new moon, it will happen within plus or minus 1 to 3 days before or after. Same with the full moon. And there's certain groups of people that seem to stick around these spots. So it might just have something to do with your position in life at the current moment. Are you releasing, or are you trying to manifest? That is a big part of it. If you're trying to release, then I would assume that you're probably going to want to have the full moon with a bleed. If you're trying to manifest, you would want a new moon around something like conception, because it is the idea of creation, right? Growth. So it's just very interesting that they couldn't find a correlation, because when you have a look at as well like collective readings, and you have like, say someone's got like 250,000 views on a video, that's crazy, right? For a collective read, and it's like 3 piles or something, and you have heaps more people choose pile 2 over pile 1 and 3. Pile 1 and 3 still get a decent amount of views, maybe, you know, 75,000 each, but like the pile 2 has got 150k. Those people are just aligned differently, right? They're learning different things, but there's 7 billion of us people on this planet. You can't tell me with the amount of people that are on the internet that you're not going to have, obviously, more people drawn to one thing. And that might also mean that the people that are drawn to pile 2 are more likely to go online and actually watch these things or look for information. Pile 1 and 3, they might not. They might have different things that they're actually learning and going through, so they don't go on the internet. But clearing dead wood. If I come back to my reading, I'm very much getting the clearing the dead wood, and that means like, yeah, you're clearing out things that are no longer useful. And when it comes to justice, I do see there being a fair result, or a lot of strength given. It's interesting I say strength, because it's like, but she's holding up the sword and the sheath, and she's pulling it out of the water while she's justly rising, and she's presenting to him something that will now allow him to be safe, protected, and strong. And it says Lady of the Lake, and I've always wondered, oh, I reckon that's Mordred. Where is he? He's the King of Swords. King of Swords. So he is got a purple cape, and he has, what is that? He has a double-headed phoenix on the back of his chair, and he has a German Shepherd. Now, there's also another very interesting thing I've noticed about a lot of the kings and the emperor cards, or anything that depicts like a masculine figure. They typically all have a very similar pose. And I've started noticing a lot of this imagery that we use and that comes through for people, and they might be channeling this stuff, or they might have just seen a lot of imagery over their lives if they're illustrators or artists. But I'm not religious, so a lot of religious imagery I'm actually seeing for the first time. And when I've been reading tarot, I don't know that. So when I go and I see a religious image, and I'm like, oh, that was in a tarot reading, that's in a tarot card, and it might not even be RWS, but I see it. The High Priestess, I think, is almost a rip-off, or someone has ripped that off and turned it into Mary. So I have it saved somewhere. I won't bother with that now. Oh my god. Not the coca. Anyway, so Mordred with the King of Swords makes sense. He's going to retrieve his sword. So he's reclaiming himself in some sense. He's reclaiming a part of himself, and he's going to retrieve it. He's literally got his hand outstretched. He's like, give that to me. And he's in the water, so he's like not afraid of the depths, because he wants to get what he deserves, because it's his. Oh my god, I've never put this together before. This is insane. Because he's the King of Swords. So in the Justice card, there becomes there's like a lot of nuance now I'm seeing through this. I love this. There's a lot of overcoming. There's a mountain line behind him, so there's something to overcome. She is rising above him, so she has more power, but she's presenting to him what he wants and deserves, which is his sword, and he's willing in the water to go to the depths, because look how deep she is in there, right? I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm not sure if this imagery is based off of the Arthurian legends as well. So there's some things that I see and I'm like, aha. There's some of the characters overlap, blah, blah, blah. But when I'm looking at that, it makes me think of is it Judgment? I can't remember. There's another card here where they're taking him to Avalon, the maimed king, and that's his healing. The healing happens there. Come on, show me the money. Yep, so Avalon. So again, there's purple again. That's all. That's just like he's in purple and there's purple in that boat. So you got to think about this as like a symbol. What is purple? Royalty, elegance, regal, mysticism, deep intuition or knowledge, things like that. So you've got a lot of purple coming up here. So interesting. And this design at the front with the head, I can't remember what that's called. Because if you look at the back, she's like a water nymph and she's like pulling right up out of the water and she is like blowing a horn, right? Which is like seen in the imagery of Judgment, which is this is Judgment. Now, who was that? Who was the lady? Because where's the Lady of the Lake? That's why I was looking at it, because I was like, is the Lady of the Lake from Avalon or is it somewhere else? That's what I was gonna look up. Okay, so mythological character. Children, Bors, Lancelot, and Lionel. Adopted. Okay, so let me have a look at the Lady of the Lake. Either mermaid or mermaid-like human enchantress. Okay. She gave King Arthur his magical sword Excalibur, but kidnapped Sir Lancelot as a child only later to cure him of his madness. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so basically I have heard that they do think like Morgan Le Fay could be one, as she is one of the maidens that takes him to the Isle of Avalon. Okay, so Vivian may have well been the first lady of the lake. Oh, that's so interesting. I'll call my medication. I sometimes call my medication Vivian. Okay, so it basically just said that like you could have the Lady of the Lake might be Nimue. I don't know if I'm saying that. Nimue, or Nanaine. She sealed Merlin in a cave or tree and put him under a spell. Okay. So I really need to read these mythology stories because like goddamn I'm missing out a lot of information. Okay, so this is Nimue. Again, say she's dressed in purple and white. That was when I was literally saying there's purple in all of these, that card came into my mind because I was like, isn't the priestess wearing purple too? And she's got nymphs and stuff around her. Once she sealed Merlin in a cave or a tree and put him under a spell. She's a sorcerer. Even though Merlin could foresee and foretell and foresee his captivity, was able to unstop it because of his enchantment. Interesting. Very interesting. Two lovers, magically sealed, chance him, blah 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 blah. Oh! Very interesting. Talking about Merlin. I think Merlin's pretty cool. So who is the Lady of Lake? They don't really say. Just a generalized figure by the sounds of it. But the High Priestess, the original imagery is very different to this one. And the original imagery, like the the Rider-Waite-Smith. I'm always saying like original, and that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so they call it, they think it's Nimue or Vivian. Let me see if I can. That's interesting. I just came and I flipped onto this page, and it's like the moon cycles, and it's attributed the different like stages of like womanhood, right? So you've got like in essence you've got maiden, mother, crone. So you've got pre-children, with children, and menopause, or like, you know, older. And this is actually really interesting because in the research they actually showed that younger women are more likely to menstruate around a new moon or a waxing moon, so it's building up. And they've literally got here new moon, daughter, and then you get to like your first quarter moon, and it goes to lover, and then you get to your third quarter moon, or whatever, maybe, yeah, you go here, you go there, then you go mother, then you go priestess, and then you go grandmother, and then you go dark. I find that very interesting. That's very cool. In place of maiden, mother, and crone, these moon times can be called daughter, lover, mother, priestess, and grandmother. This is talking about like, let me see if I can find, okay, so, interesting, okay. What am I looking for? Let's go 64. 64. Interesting. Okay, so it's really interesting that they actually have like super interesting information. It's because they've got like dark maiden, bright maiden, which basically means that like negative and positive, but like that's not really true. Both of them are going to have aspects that are negative and positive within themselves. Like they've already sort of said that. So, you know, so it's, even if you're a bright maiden, you can still be superficial, a bit militant, unemotional. You might power over people because you're bright. But if you are within your power and you're not in your shadow, then you will be strong, organized, independent. You'll have power from within instead of power over people. And then if you're a dark maiden, if you're afflicted, you can feel weak, passive, like a victim, a loser, blah, blah. But if you're liberated, you could feel supportive, subjective, intuitive, and you will surrender. Very interesting. Okay, so where is that book? This one. Yep. Okay, so I know that Table of Deities. Okay, so let me see where she's gonna fall. I wonder, Great Mother and Goddesses, deities of the underworld. So not that one. They've been like deities of magic, love, no. Messenger, teacher, moon. Okay, so maybe we have Arianod, Bridget, Brown, Cerebid, Dagda, Danu, and I could never pronounce that. Locke. I can't do the GH, it's just confusing. Okay, so maybe, oh, they do have, okay, Nawada. That was like, someone has actually gone through and like written on these pages, which was like really upsetting for me, but I mean, look at the book, the front pages. When was this published? 1990. Nice. First edition of third printing, 1991. It is a Llewellyn World Magic book. DJ Conway. Okay, so this is really interesting. They've got a table of deities. I don't really want to look at that. I do just want to find, because they've got tables of correspondence, blah, 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 and spells. I wonder if I can find... okay, so they do have... yeah, here we go. Oh, Nimue, a Celtic moon goddess, also called Vivian or Morgan. So interesting, because it's saying they say like, oh, it might be this or it might be this, but they seem to be the same person. Very interesting, but like, why? Why are they all like the same person? Why have like three very different groups? Does Nimue actually sound like, well, Morgan is completely. Let me see. Morgan le Fay, Welsh death goddess. Morgan the Fate, Glamorgan in Wales is said to be her sacred territory. She can cast a curse. She can cast a destroying curse on any man. Gawain of the Round Table bore Morgan's pentacle as a heraldic device on his blood red shield. Wait. Oh my god. You're joking. He is the Knight of Shields. Gawain, I think it said, maybe that was Boars. Hang on, I swear to God. Now I've lost the page. Why did I do that? This is very interesting. Boar, okay, yeah, Boar. No, I was getting that confused with the Boar. That's interesting. So Gawain of the Round Table bore Morgan's pentacle. Gawain. I can't remember what. I think he's the Knight of Cups in this deck. I think he's the Knight of Cups. It's going to take me forever to just do this because I want to. Come on, chameleon. Oh, Gawain is the Knight of Swords. There we go. But he does have the pentacle on there. Oh my god, I always wondered why. So interesting. Oh, I'm actually starting to feel tired. It's only 1:22. Interesting. That's very interesting. Disputed origins. Children, Boars, Lancelot, Lionel, adopted. Okay, I've already gone through this. Home, the League, Broccolandi, Avalon. Okay. So the Lady of the Lake does belong in Avalon. That's very interesting. Uther Pendragon. It's a broad archetype of a magical fairy enchantress. Probably derived from the... Okay, so people keep... I've heard 2 references to this now, and it seems to be Welsh water nymphs, or... Excuse me, can you just actually... Go away. Dames of Elfinland or wives of the lower wood are beautiful female fairies who live beneath lakes and rivers found in Welsh folklore. Oh, that's so cool. Known as the Dames of the lower region, Dames of Elfinland or wives of the lower world. Neath Port Talbot. Sorry, I don't know what that is. Oh, White Rose of Avalon. And if you think about like Judgment, the Reckoning, but when you go to Avalon, it's about like acceptance and healing. And oh my god, it has been okay. And I really like that picture, the Lady of the Lake and Lancelot Speed illustration for. Okay, so it was made in 1912. I wonder how much influence this author would have taken for like what am I trying to say? Like oh yeah, because they've actually got a whole bit here on the little folk or fairies and the different type. So many. Oh. I can't believe I wasn't really using them. Okay, merpeople. Mermaids are water dwellers who are human from the waist up with a tail of a fish. They sometimes lure fishermen to the death. The Irish equivalent of the mermaid is the murder haka. That's, I just want to say, murder haka. That is not how you're saying it. It actually says to pronounce it Marucha or Meros. I'm sorry. I have so much. My ancestry goes back to like literally like Ireland. A lot of Irish compared to like some of my other family which have more English in them. You know what? I think I'm gonna go to the bookstore and get one of the... This is a demo store for testing purposes. Okay, I don't want to buy anything. I'm reading an article. Pronounce Gareth Anoon. Anoon? Well, in W in Welsh is a vowel, pronounced U, and DD in Welsh is pronounced th. Oh, hang on, I can do this. Okay. W in Welsh is a vowel, pronounced U. Okay, and DD is pronounced th, so that's why you have... But the GW, that's so confusing. Gareth and Noon. Gareth and Noon. That sounds like good afternoon. They were said to inhabit a watery realm of Anwin. Anwin? Anwin? Oh, this makes so much sense. The other world, not like our modern conception, the Celtic underworld. This is really interesting stuff. I haven't learned a lot of this. But I do know a lot of my... Okay, so Lady of the Lake and Arthurian legends originated from... So there's a large speculation that she's actually just from... Okay, so they're basically saying... So... Do Celtic... Okay, so it would make sense if Welsh and Celtic sort of... like history, like very, very far back up, is crossed over somehow with a bit of like Norse paganism from like the top, because I feel like they sort of spread a lot in Europe, and then they came over and they were like, and then they just went all over and they just told them what to do, and I feel like that just kept happening to the UK. That there's people just coming and being like, we're stronger than you, and they were like, oh damn it. If my history is wrong, I don't care. I'm really, it's like 1:30 in the morning. So lake maidens and swan maidens. Interesting. I really like swans. Last year I was like convinced that like if I saw 2 swans that I was going to meet my twin flame. So it's just been theorized by people, but like honestly, like if she's rising out of the water, it's the other world in Celtic. Oh, sorry, I keep yawning. The other world in Celtic origin or Welsh myth. They're associated with a form of the wild hunt that is in this deck. This is crazy because I knew it crossed over with King Arthur. There's a lot of Celtic. King Arthur is like an English legend, right? But there's so much mythology from Celtic and Welsh. I mean, like when you say Celtic, I think you can just assume that it covers the area of Wales, Ireland, and Scotland. You know, I was having a conversation with someone once. Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Cornwall, the Isle of Man, and Brittany. There you go. I was talking to someone once, this older guy, and I said Celtic, like I said the word, I brought up the conversation and mentioned something that was Celtic, and he was like, wow, well done. How many people know how to pronounce that correctly? That's what I had. Cat with hands. I was like, cat with hands, hardcore. But yeah, not really making much sense, and I feel like small reading, whatever. Oh, water. Oh my god. this will be adios, amigos. Goodbye.